Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good day. My name is Dave Biela. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views, broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion show addressing local and national and interesting topics to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Your opinions, the opinions are the views that are responsibilities of making the comments and do not necessarily reflect the views of this program or its by co-producers at this particular time. Bob is a little incapacitated, but he told me in 5 days he's going to be back ranting and rolling, maybe. Any unauthorized use, the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of Larry or Curly, or Larry or Schmo, or whomever, is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the topic, the discussion, and the participants. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start off this show on a novelty note. Yesterday, it was suggested by my medical provider, to go to South Bend to get an ultrasound.
Is it a boy or a girl?
I found out I wasn't pregnant. You want to repeat that? But while I was at the VA, I found out something very interesting that affects all of the veterans here in LaPorte County. To my knowledge, according to Rosinski, he said we've got 7,600 veterans in LaPorte County. And those veterans are from representing World War II, Korea, the Cold War, Vietnam, Lebanon, Grenada, Panama, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Iraqi Freedom. So we've got a lot of veterans out there, and again, maybe they're not in tune with public access as you viewers are, but you may have a niece or a nephew who participated in these government events. Well, she was a
U.S. Rep.
United States Representative Jackie Walorski has a foundation, and her foundation took on a program that affects all of you vets out there, including me, and that is the honor flights to Washington, D.C. Now, this paperwork was, I was asked by an individual at the VA, am I familiar with what's going on? Well, I was familiar with the honor flights. You see it on TV occasionally, but you didn't know how to get involved. Well, I know how to get involved. It involves you, the veteran, plus one individual, depending on your age. It'd have to be a young, healthy individual who would push you around a 7-mile tract of the various monuments in Washington, D.C. But it could be a granddaughter, or it could be a younger brother. It may be your wife if she is, if she's like that football coach down in North Carolina. He's 70-some years old and she's 24. In that situation, Belichick. If Belichick was a veteran, he could bring his wife along on a trip to Washington to visit the various monuments. This is the honor flight of Northeast Indiana. It's not the honor flight of Northwest Indiana, because I believe they fly either out of O'Hare or Midway. Mm-hmm. These guys fly out of Fort Wayne. There will be the schedule for 2026. You will leave the airport in Fort Wayne between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, possibly 15 available flights that you're entitled to get on one of them. They have a Facebook site, but what my intent is to spread a little Christmas cheer and to make copies of these application forms and drop off applications to all veterans organizations affiliated, the VFW, the Post 37, Post 51, and so on, and also organizations in LaPorte, to make them aware of this opportunity to basically honor our veterans, of which I'm one of them. You can go to, if you're computer literate, I guess you can go to Facebook, www.hfnei.org. and you could get information over to Facebook. But I'm going to try to get this to LaPorte County too, because to our veteran service officer, he probably knows about it. But maybe our show attracts more people. More of our viewing audience might know a vet, a son or a daughter, or a father or a grandpa. I think it's a really unique effort on behalf of Jackie and her foundation to take this on behalf of the veterans. So that was my claim to fame. Also, supposedly, the South Bend VA Center is coming to LaPorte County. Well, Rosinski said he wanted, since it takes me 42 or 43 miles to get to Mishawaka, he wanted to get a VA center here because of the amount of vets we have in LaPorte County. As it stands right now, what will come to LaPorte County, they're offering a readjustment and counseling service on Thursday from 9 till 3 p.m. at 555 West Michigan Ave. I believe that's the Hyler building.
Yep. It's the VA office.
So at least some inroads, other than the veteran service officer, is coming into town from the South Bend Clinic, and a lot of people need that specific service as well to tell the vets basically where to go. You know, I had an opportunity today. I had an opportunity today, well, actually for the last 2 days, to speak with the Indiana Department of Government Finance. I spoke 45 minutes 2 days ago with an individual who was like a representative of the Indiana Department of Finance here in Northwest Indiana. Her name was Miranda Busey, B-U-C-Y, Busey. She was a field representative. I talked to her for about 45 minutes. And my conversation was convincing enough to have my concerns directed to an Anna Cooley, who is a budget director of Indiana Department of Government Finance. So I talked to Anna from 9 till 10 this morning, and she enlightened me a little bit. I basically enlightened her a little bit as well.
What'd you learn?
I learned that the Indiana Department of Government Affairs basically has no knowledge of TIF district revenues.
Really?
They have a knowledge of the general budgetary process of funds from the various TIF districts, combining their funds with city funds to send them to Gateway. So when these funds get to Gateway, they are combined. TIF district funds are a separate entity specifically for the designated TIF district area that they come from. But by the time they get down to the Indiana Department of Government Affairs, they're combined with the regular tax base. So according to Anna, she's been with DLGF for, she started at the age of 18, and she's been there for 22 years.
Wow.
According to Anna, she says we know nothing other than a combined conglomerate of tax funds.
They don't have a breakdown.
They don't have a breakdown.
Really?
I have provided over the years breakdowns of Indiana law, and one of the unique Indiana laws that I discovered was 36-7-14-13, which was recodified, I guess, in January 2nd, 2024. And it talks about the responsibilities of the Redevelopment Commission as far as reporting their income, reporting revenues received, itemizing revenues received, expenses paid, balance funds, the amount of maturity date of outstanding obligations, the amount paid of outstanding obligations, and so on and so on and so on. A lot of
more detailed than the Gateway has.
That is correct. Now, the last line on this 36-7-14-13 specifically says, the Redevelopment Commission and a Department of Redevelopment are subject to the same laws, rules, and ordinances of a general nature to apply to all commissions and departments of this unit. My interpretation of that is everybody has to be on the right page. And is that my interpretation?
Singing out of the same hymnal.
Not out of the same hymnal. Okay, what we have right now is we've got a redevelopment commission that are doing unusual things. One of the unusual things that they did, this pertains to Indiana Department of Government Finance guidance and general TIF principles. Okay, basically it says, not for general budgetary balances. TIF revenue, according to state law, is not to be used for general budgetary balances. Aha.
What would be a general budgetary balance?
Would it be
Paying a policeman, a firefighter, a secretary?
Okay, it would be
Paving roads.
Paving roads. It has its specific line. It does not. It specifically says that the Department of Local Government Finance rules, because of TIF funds, are strictly infrastructure development that wouldn't be otherwise happening. That wouldn't be otherwise happening, not general operating costs or salaries. That's what it says. Well, if you go back to, I believe it's the 9th of, I feel like, you go back to, I think, October the 9th or thereabouts, when the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission, through their wisdom, appropriated $263,000 plus on dollars to hire 2 new city employees.
Out of where?
Out of the
Interest.
proceeds from the interest from the TIF money that the Redevelopment Commission has in the bank. The interest, the TIF money, the excess TIF money then goes into the bank account. That bank account earns interest. It's still TIF money. It originates
I thought
from...
that was the interpretation, that interest was not.
That is correct. The interpretation was that the interest can be utilized for this $263,000 appropriation to hire 2 new city employees. I believe that's misappropriation of funds, and I think those 2 employees should resign because they don't have a source of funding to make their paycheck, but yet they're still working today. I don't think that's right. The advice that whoever gave to the Redevelopment Commission to appropriate these funds was an error based on state law 36-7-14-13, a violation of state law. When I approached this young lady, I informed her of the violation of reporting the first 7 years of Redevelopment Commission's funds to the Gateway concept, and I cited Indiana 36-7-25-7, another violation from the Redevelopment Commission, because the Gateway project was established in 2010. The first 7 years of the Gateway project, the first few years, it was like an orientation year, so they didn't put too much emphasis in recording funds. But from 2014 to 2021, 7 of those years, the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission had a mandate to comply with, to report these funds. They didn't do it. Tony verified that on his little bitty laptop here. How many years ago has it been?
Not too long.
No, could your laptop be wrong?
Could be. No, I doubt it. It wasn't on Gateway.
Okay. All right. So my conclusion. I'm almost at a complimentary close here because it's been a long time, and my conclusion pertaining to TIF district revenue and the failure on behalf of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission to properly follow state law. My conclusion is, and it's the same conclusion that was given to me by Anna Pusey. Okay? after my 2 hours with the 2 hours with DGLF and all of my research, she suggested to call 317-232-2513 and talk to a Beth Goss or a Martha Wilson. Those two individuals are with the Indiana State Board of Accounts. She says somebody has to straighten out this mess. Right now, she is under the impression that since the TIF district funds are generated within a specific area, those funds are under the control of those individuals in that specific area. And she suggested that an audit should take place. What's my next step? Again, call these people after Christmas time and get their opinion. If the Indiana State Board of Accounts cannot audit these combined funds on behalf of the city of Michigan City to determine what is TIF revenue and what is general obligation tax grace, there's something wrong. I talked to her about Form 22, the Form 22 that I get from the auditor's office. She said at the TIF, at the gateway level, they don't take the Form 22 proceeds into account. They're all lumped in to a big lump sum. So in my mind, I could be wrong, but in my mind, then the only entity that has decision-making authority of those TIF funds has to be the Redevelopment Commission. As I pointed out, Redevelopment Commission got in $23 million and they spent over, what, $44 million. Well, is it like when we had Presser on, he talked about it as a gigantic slush fund. Maybe additional legislation has to be compiled.
At a minimum, they need to, because that thing you said that generally or practices, at a minimum the state should clarify.
Correct.
If interest is definitely money in the redevelopment or if it's money they can spend like they have in Michigan City to hire some people. Mm-hmm. Because we have a professional on the Redevelopment Commission who advised the Redevelopment Commission they could do this, and the mayor and the city council, and these people are working. I thought when I read that article and the build up to that, I thought, it just doesn't seem right. If you're earning interest on money that comes from any source, isn't it still bound by the same rules of the money that's in the source?
From. Yeah, where it came from.
To parse those two, I thought was really strange. Now, it could be possible because the government does some funny things, but at a minimum, the legislature's in session. They need to clarify that interest, which could be a lot of money. We're talking $20 million. Interest could be a lot of money. Well, we know it's $260,000 here. That money needs to go under the same rules and regulations that redevelopment funds have.
But by the city administration accepting this $263,000 for these two new city employees, that's a violation of state law. What do they call it? They're complicit. Is the word complicit in this possible misappropriation of funds?
Well, worst case scenario, a couple things issued, but worst case scenario, they say you couldn't have done it. I don't think they'll make them pay it back. Anyone who's out there, the government does strange things. What, 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, LaPorte County went through a full audit in the State Board of Accounts, whole county. It was real quiet, and they came and they went through every single account. Believe me, when I was county surveyor, they want to know where every penny was in and where every penny was out and how it got approved to be out, how it's spent or expended. And they went through detail, and they issued a report. I remember about a year ago, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, they issued a report. There were some minor things, there were a couple major things, but nothing happened. I mean, I think the auditor fixed it and was bound by what they need to do because they're elected officials, bounded by the State Board of Accounts. But if that's going to happen in Michigan City, it's no fun. they will come and they will do a forensic audit, which they call deep dive into the accounts. And they will look at all these accounts, because I'm sure the controller, city controller, has all this money from the multiple, I'm sure there's a paper trail. And they will look at things like, was the interest approved appropriately to be spent on these employees, or was the guidance given that was wrong? I would probably say, if my guess would be, that they would say the guidance was wrong and you couldn't have spent it. But I would also say they won't make them pay it back, and they will probably tell them they can't have those employees, which no fun either. But I'm sure, I haven't seen them, because I don't think it was done illegally. It's just done out of
Stupidity?
You didn't really know, or it was vague. Well, that's what they'll say. Well, it wasn't really clear. That law you read wasn't exactly clear to say that was.
It's pretty clear to me.
It's pretty clear, but it has some wiggle room. So that's my guess. State Board of Accounts will say, yes, this happened. Yes, the city was complicit. Yes, they got guidance from the redevelopment and their authorities and their professionals, but you're just going to have to stop. You can't take that money. I doubt they'll make them put it back.
When it says, no Indiana Department of Local Government Finances can utilize their money for general budgetary balances. When you
now, wait a minute. General budgetary balances. If the city comes back and says this was not a general budgetary balance, this was a new thing and we're not going to continue it, then they could get out from under the umbrella, which is why I say they won't make them pay it back. They'll just say, well, it can't be a general budgetary balance, so these positions can't go on to next year.
Okay, these are two established positions that were paid for in prior administrations. Or loans for other purposes they pay for projects that create new value not covered under existing shortfalls through sometimes they can be reimbursed the city for improvements. These were former employees.
I thought they were new employees.
No.
I thought we had
No, I'm sorry if
employees that got moved to a different spot, and we got new employees.
One of those was an employee of City, Michigan City for 14 years. The female employee came in from Gary. Okay.
We got a new employee.
We got one new employee. Sometimes they can reimburse the city for improvements. Could that word improvements mean attracting a new employee to the city?
I don't think I think the State Board of Accounts will say that this is not clearly acceptable, but I don't think they'll make them pay it back. I think they might make them stop or get their money from somewhere else, but I don't think they'll make them pay it back.
With when I see one of those employees, the female, is a contributing factor to the inroads of Michigan City. She has a logical mind. She thinks things out, and she can relate, and she can.
Yeah, we're not saying that we don't need these employees. And Mayor Angie was trying to find any way she can to pay for this, because you look at the planner or the building commissioner or the inspectors, they are woefully understaffed. And it's not Michigan City. City of LaPorte County, if you want to see a group of people that are working 10 times harder as they're getting paid, you go to the building commissioner's office. These people are woefully understaffed. They cannot keep up. And even the mayor said it in a meeting somewhere, I don't remember, that we have all this new development coming on. They can't have inspectors to go up there. These people, if I recall, she said these people are going to have to hire their own inspectors. Now, I don't like that. Maybe the city should tell them, if you want your inspections done in a short order time, or you're going to wait for our understaffed people, you've got to give us X dollars so we can hire our separate party and inspect your stuff. And I just found out a week ago, and that's why I was on assignment last week on another project, that another county in Indiana, just southwest of here, has solar going in, and they had a huge project. And this was a smaller, very unpopulated county. And they said, we can't inspect your stuff, but we have this agreement, you have to inspect this and whatever, the electrical and the structural, we have to inspect these solar panels and things, but we don't have the people. They didn't tell them to inspect their own. They told them, and LaPorte County has the same thing, by ordinance, that you have to pay us to hire a third-party consultant to inspect your stuff if you want it done in a short amount of time. Or you can wait months and months and we'll finally get to it. So those people paid, and they have their consultants who are responsible to the county, not to the builder. They check the builder's work. And I think Michigan City, I hope that's the direction they're going to go with all the building we have. We can't make the staff do that. LaPorte City, LaPorte County, Michigan City, we don't have the people. They're just not available. But you have consultants who would be hireable to do this at a rate that whatever they choose and approve to inspect this stuff for the city as a third party who's not beholden to the people building it and make sure it's right. And that's how we have to work it.
As it stands right now, we have one building inspector. She, her first name is Sue.
She's amazing. And she's trying to get another one, but I don't know if they'll get it because, A, it doesn't pay a lot, and it's hard.
But this should be a budgetary issue when the city council creates a budget for I believe they've already passed the budget for the forthcoming year.
Yeah.
But it should be a line item in the budget to employ.
Well,
they have over 2,000 building applications that have accumulated there. 2,000, and they have a workforce.
They'll never get.
They have a workforce of 4 people.
They'll never get their own. And it's not a budget issue. It is, but it isn't. It's an issue that the city needs to pass some rules and ordinances to allow people who are building in Michigan City. I don't care if it's you in your residential home, a barn, a garage, a porch, some siding, whatever you need, a driveway, that allows you to pay the city an amount of money so they can hire a consultant to come in here and do the inspections and get through this workload it's slowly built up, and now I think it's impossible to get through. You're not getting through it. So now everyone's just kind of stalled out and waiting over inspections, and we're running Sue ragged and whoever else we can get running around, and they're taking the brunt of why can't I get anything done in Michigan City? And lots of communities do this. It's not just LaPorte.
In an expedited time.
And try to expedite this, and instead of have an administration that's stuck and mired in mud because it just can't do it. And this was one of the things that Mayor Angie thought, well, maybe I can get some more help, which was great, and we need to pay for the help. But maybe this is a direction that wasn't viable. It might have been a good idea. Lots of good ideas are tried, but not researched enough to know that this is probably money we can't. So if the state board comes to town, it won't be fun. They are very fair. They are very thorough. They don't have any skin in the game. It is what it is. They know the rules inside and out. They've been all across this state. And they will give you a report, and they will tell you what you can and can't do to fix things. So again, I doubt they will tell them to pay the $260,000 back, but they'll tell them it can't continue. And then we're back to the budget. It's not really a budget item. It's a council and the mayor saying, we've looked at everything, we're managing this situation, this operation, but we don't have enough money, and we don't have the talent. I don't know if they'll find the talent as consultants. That's rare too, but you gotta try. And I go back to the fact what Mayor Dwayne Perry did when the council and everyone was up in arms about we don't have enough lifeguards. You know what? We got them because we paid them. We brought their salaries up. And that's the first way to get some more people into the building department is more money to bring salaries up. And Sue deserves it. Woo.
Yeah, she does.
You could pay her triple, and she would be worth it. But I don't know if you could find it. And I know Sue's looking for people. And there's a lot of people that are not available. LaPorte County is looking for people. So LaPorte, every community is looking for people.
The trades are looking for people.
The trades are looking for people. But with the right amount of consulting hourly rate, I think you could find some people. The county I'm talking about, the solar, was Newton County. They hired people, and I'm sure it was a very expensive price, but the solar, they didn't care. They would pay it, they don't care, and that brought the level up, that the pay went up, and the consultant said, I'll do it for that amount. I got other jobs, but I'll come over to your county. And that's, I think, Michigan City would have to, in every community, Michigan City would be wise to go that route to say, listen, we can't do it. If you want your inspection tomorrow, or a week from now, or 5 days from now, we have this opportunity. We have these, what I think you should pick 3 consultants. So you have these 3 consultants, pick which one you want. Here's the rate you're going to pay them. You pay them, they look at it, they give us a report, and we get your approval. We get your building going.
And again, as I said earlier, it's obvious they've got over 2,000 existing permits laying there. And this is a definite part of economic development. It's just not a pie in the sky idea to open the doors to every Tom, Dick, and Harry chicken place to have their approval approved.
And they'll pay because they're spending millions of dollars to open a new venture, and they have the money because they don't want to wait.
They want to get it done.
Time is money to them, and they pay an interest on that. And they would be fine paying the rate. LaPorte County does not have an engineer at the county highway anymore, so they have to pay a consultant an engineering consultant to review their things in the county highway. And they have different people they use. I've done some work for them. And they have other consultants they use. And every community is doing this. This is a new way of thinking. The days, which were great, that we had inspectors in-house and people that did it, and retired tradespeople, those are gone. Those are gone, and they're not coming back. But we have to move or pivot to another way of doing things because we need the development to continue. And this should not get in the way. And kudos for doing a new system online, which I hear is working. And we're finally doing some technology because I think technology can save you immensely in salaries and time and getting things done. You just have to embrace it, and it's usually not fun. But if we get this going, people will say, all right, I can either wait for the city to approve it and I'll pay my fee, or I could pay whatever, $200 an hour or whatever standard charge that each consultant comes up with, and pick a consultant. They'll write the report, give it to the city, get your permit. Whether it's to build something or occupy something or get something done, you'll get your permit right off the bat. Now, there's always the strange things that happen with consultants, that free dinner or whatever, but those things happen and you have to police that. I know the state of Indiana, I work with the state of Indiana for Indiana Department of Transportation doing permits. They hire out their hydraulics review. I didn't know that. And I thought, well, why wouldn't I know that? Because there's no one to do a hydraulics review because those people are all in the private world making far more money than the state of Indiana can afford to pay them. But if I have a permit, that goes down to the state of Indiana, and then they give it to their consultant, and the consultant gives it back. So there's a delay now, and they're in some strange format barrier that happens, and I want us to talk a little about that. There's a format we have right now in nearly every community I go to, except for LaPorte County and probably LaPorte City. I got this format barrier where if something I do doesn't exactly match the format, it automatically gets kicked back. Everything could be there, but the format is not correct. And I wanted to bring that up because when you look at AI will not care what the format. If you have a piece of paper with a bunch of things on it, all the details are on there, just not in the right spot, AI won't care. It will scan the document, it'll pull out the things that it seeks because it's just that good, it's that fast, it can program itself, and it will find the things it needs, fill them into the form, and give you the right format. Now that's a barrier that I think we're just going to have to work through, but things of that nature, and AI scares the bejesus out of me, but that's coming where I don't have a format barrier. And we did that because, you're in the printing business, right? We did that because I need to know the name, the address, the person, what they're doing, how they're doing, well, check this box, put it here, do this, do that, fill in the slot in the computer, just like that.
Look at this application.
Look at that application.
Application for a flight.
That's a format barrier.
Okay.
And I think you're probably going to see, if this comes out to the world and they start using this term, because I just created this term, a format barrier gets taken down, that alone I think could save 20, maybe 30% of time that I run into, and I think everyone runs to, as a format barrier to getting things complete.
And there's also a side too.
And yeah,
that includes your signature of recognition of truth and...
And Michigan City, if they have 2,000 permits that need to be reviewed or updated, they have the same problem of taking all this information, put it into their system in the format to get something that's indexed and usable and followable. But watch out, AI is coming. I think it's going to come very fast. That format barrier will go away, and things will proceed far faster and far better. As AI scans a document faster than humans can, it'll just look at it and see that I need these things. These things go here, here, and here. And it'll do it. It'll do it almost instantaneously. Whereas humans, we got to pick up the paper and we look at this, it goes here, we got to look this, and I feel sorry for people reviewing permits. There's lots of things that got to go here, here, and here that they got to find in a bunch of documents. And it takes time, hours.
Now, Tony brought in a map. This was the original enterprise zone designated area north of Highway 20.
Really?
When I was
That's the same.
It's basically the same because I've got mine in 2020 and 2021, but it's basically the same. It extended further into the west side. My amendment only included up to Willard Ave. This now includes all the way up to Sheridan Ave for the enterprise zone.
That's why that's what I was confused. There's a difference between the enterprise zone and the TIF.
Correct.
And I didn't know that. I didn't understand that.
And the point I want to make is that we have a established organization called the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission, ignoring this basic area that's in red and trying to improve property throughout the city of Michigan City, which they are accomplishing these 2,000 additional permits, but they are not receptive to the completion of the established enterprise zone that has 37 vacant lots in it right now.
I just realized these are the wrong colors. The urban enterprise zone should be red and this should be green, because this has money, this does not.
Yeah.
There's no money.
Yeah.
So where do you think they're doing all their work?
Right
in the green zone, which is blue.
Okay.
This is where the money is. There's no money for that. I didn't understand, and you can help. What does an urban enterprise zone do if there's no money?
Okay. Well, again, the language says if there is a cessation of growth, in this particular area needs to be improved upon, the Urban Enterprise Association or an urban enterprise zone should try to develop this land. There are 37 vacant lots.
With what money? Red means there's no money.
They have.
Can they get money?
They have TIF revenue. They have TIF. They got $14 million in the bank. They have TIF revenue. The TIF revenue was generated from this property here. New construction within this area, TIF money was generated. They have the dollars to consider economic development in these 37 acres.
So there's some overlap.
There is definitely an overlap to the tune of like $14 million that they have in a bank, accumulated funds from the established TIF districts in this area.
The blue chip is in there, but the west side is not in here.
Correct. I'm going back to the original designated TIF, the original designated enterprise zone area in 2021.
You gotta be careful because there's a TIF area and there's an enterprise zone.
Correct. And the intent of the legislation that when we created one of the first 6 enterprise zones in the state of Indiana that was here in Michigan City was to take a area that had cessation of growth that could be assumed under the category of blight and improve it. This area and this area was identified, the north end of Michigan City. Since we wrote the legislation, we've got 37 more vacant lots, vacant stores, vacant storefronts, 37 acres of Old Memorial Hospital, the 9th and Pine, the Sola property, and so on. We've got areas that are utilized in the city of Michigan City for grazing geese. Maybe we should bring in herds of sheep to come in and eat the grass on these various 37 acres. Then that way we don't have to pay for somebody to cut the grass. Because the city of Michigan City, in my opinion,
well, the TIF funds cannot be used for maintenance. So can they buy sheep?
Well, I would say so.
No, because that's maintenance.
Well, no, it talks about, okay,
Anyways,
TIF revenues, it
you
spells
can
out.
build things and fix things, but you can't pay for maintenance unless it's property they own.
Well, but then if you build a building and it's occupied, then the people who occupy the building will provide the maintenance.
So the enterprise zone, I understand, is a foothold and a door open for grants and abatements
Correct.
and things
Additional-
like that.
Right.
It's not the TIF district that actually does that too, but they actually have money. The TIF district, the redevelopment gets money from the TIF district, and they actually have funds in the bank.
But if you look at this map,
There's a little overlap.
if you look at this map and you see where TIF money is being spent
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in an area that is blighted, it's cessation of growth. Well, in looking at this area, I think it includes Walmart, it includes Myers, it includes Lowe's, it includes
Menards, the theater.
economic development is blooming in this area, and yet
And there's no redevelopment in some of that.
No.
That's already undeveloped land.
And yet, the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission authorized a $2 million appropriation for this particular plot of ground right here to improve it, because it had cessation of growth. The money that was generated possibly...
Wait. The redevelopment commission authorized money for undeveloped ground.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
just want to be clear.
Well, I said that a couple meetings ago. It hadn't had a chance to have...
Cessation of growth.
Cessation
Hasn't
of
started
growth.
growing yet.
Yeah, it isn't growing yet. But yet the Redevelopment Commission, in its wisdom, appropriated $2 million to a developer who happens to be somebody in Hobart,
Well, no, I think it's the ex-mayor of Crown Point,
ex-mayor of Crown Point.
Uran,
Well,
I think. Does the TIF district have to be contiguous?
according to the original designated area, I would say yes. And as you can see, all of this in the red, it's continuous. That's north of Highway 20. If you go down Highway 20 today, you see development on both sides of Highway 20. I was told that there was an entity that was established next to the Michigan City Police Department, Michigan City post on Highway 20,
The old Elks Club?
the old Elks Club. A property adjacent to that old Elks Club was offered $4 million by somebody to buy that property to utilize for automotive. People have money coming into town.
Yeah, they want a new dealership, but they moved to the old Oldsmobile dealership. They bought that property.
But on the other side of town, where that trailer, where that
Down on the boulevard and 212 and 20.
No. I'm talking on Highway 20 across the street from the nursing home.
Yeah.
There's new construction
Yeah,
going
the
on.
boulevard to 12 and 12.
Not at 212. Here before.
Yeah, there's off the old boulevard by the nursing home. They're
Yeah,
clearing
across
land.
the street from the
across from Kia.
They didn't
or
ask.
Hyundai.
Yeah, they didn't ask for any money. They just come in and start building.
Yeah, that came in front of my desk, and they moved on, and I guess they're doing it. So good for them.
They've got block walls already going up. They've got construction going up, and they're just moving right along. Highway 20, the thoroughfare east and west between County Line Road and Highway 212.
Yeah, the boulevard.
That's going to develop into something, and we have no inspectors to inspect it.
Well, that's why I think there's no budget money, and we can take a side note here because the article just came out, which I brought up. Article just came out, and this we'll do on Saturday or whatever we air. But the state of Indiana has about 2.4 billion more than they expected. And yes, the article just came out, and they seem to want to be conservative with it. So the state of Indiana potentially could have $5 billion, I mean $1 billion, of our money in their coffers. And Senate Bill 1 cut everybody, and now I guess the article, that's the Indiana Business Journal, they want to not spend that money because something could happen. Well, something's always going to happen. I mean, why is this, again, why is the state of Indiana playing bank with billions of our dollars? Now, at some point, the legislature holds it too long. By law, they have to cut us checks back, which they do, which is weird because if they take too much money, then they cut checks back to us. It costs them money to check back. So if they take $1 from us, they give us 80 cents back because they got to pay the administrator to cut the check back. So the state of Indiana is looking at even more money now.
Could this $2.5 billion, could that be invested in Indiana State Bank and earning interest?
I think they could just stop taking it. Or give the schools some more money that they cut with Senate Bill 1.
Are we almost done? Andy is here?
420, yes. He's probably got 10 minutes. But this just came out today, Indiana Business Journal, that state of Indiana has $2.4 billion more than they expected in revenue. And now they would like to hold off to see what the economy does.
But based on that point, $2.7 billion, and here we have 46% of the population of the city of Michigan City living at or below the poverty level. Is that spreading the wealth throughout the entire state?
I don't like that term because but we're not spreading the wealth. Just stop taking the wealth. Why give it to the Ivory Palace and give us some money back? Oh, thank you, King, for giving us some money back. Just stop taking the money. And I don't understand why we have to be safe in Indiana. If they need more money, they'll take more money. I remember back in the 70s, right? Oh, we were always short, and woe was us, we were short, and we got to raise taxes. Well, go ahead. But don't take more than you need and then say, well, we could give you some back.
Could this be a impetus to attract the Chicago Bears to Northwest Indiana?
Well, I had somebody ask me that. Good question. Really? Somebody asked me that. If we got $5 billion now, why don't we give $5 billion and build a new stadium for the Bears for free and they can move across the line? That would be a good use of our money. And then we'll get the Chicago Bears over here. Personally, I think it's just a game, a shell game, and force Illinois to give them money because the Bears ain't coming to Indiana. But I would sure like them.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Again, the Bears are looking for tax relief because if they own their stadium, and they want as little tax assessment on their property as possible.
But I think the Bears know and Illinois knows they're putting each other over a barrel. So maybe, I think that in Indiana that helps us out. That if Illinois says they're just playing a game and trying to force us to give a tax break, we'll call their bluff and let them play the game. But if they actually come to Indiana, and I think this is what I think will happen, and it happens all the time because you're talking about billions and billions of dollars. The Bears organization will spend money. And they'll engineering, studies, surveying. They will spend money to actually make it look like they're going to move to Indiana. So Indiana is probably going to make some money off this just because, we got 10 minutes, just because the Bears are serious about getting a tax break in Illinois, and Illinois has got to find out that they are serious. They'll look at a piece of ground. I guarantee you they will do enough preliminary engineering, surveying, studies to see if it's possible. So I don't know what could be. It could be 10 million, could be 50 million that they will spend to make it look like they're coming to Indiana. They will go talk to our legislature. They will go down to Indy. They will show up down there. So mark my words, it's good to watch history because you'll see this actually happens. And you'll say, wait, we watched that show and they predicted what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. I don't think the Bears will come here. I think it's great that they're looking at us. But we will make some money on it. And we will entice them as much as we can to come here. And Indiana will make some money. But go back to Indiana could have potential, the surplus could grow to nearly $5 billion by the middle of 2027. So it's middle of year after next year. But we're still taking it.
I'm just saying that an effort on behalf of communities in dire need of support through economic development has a source to go to, to apply for a grant so that we then can employ these new inspectors here in the city of Michigan City to continue our progress. Right now...
Yeah, you're either going to employ more inspectors if you could find them, and you're going to have to pay them more, which means Sue's going to make double or triple because you're going to have to pay her. Or you're going to hire 2 or 3 extra consultants at a rate of which is contractual, that they work for the city, but they're paid by the builders to actually get their permits approved, permitted, and finished.
And so here's a harebrained idea. Put a 6-month moratorium on the backs of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. A 6-month moratorium as far as new construction or new appropriations or new people coming into Michigan City, because you're so far behind the 8 ball already on permits. If you continue to bring in new people, maybe somebody has to put a halt on economic development in Michigan City for a period of time until we catch up.
I don't want no part of that, but I do want to talk a little bit about what happened to redevelopment before we have time. Kudos to Mayor Angie. When she and ex-Mayor Sheila and the redevelopment said no more to SOLA, I didn't believe it. They said this, Angie has said this very clearly, that she is not going to keep going on and on and on if you're not going to develop it. They put their foot down. I'm proud of them. Kudos. I did not think it would happen. They said, this is it. We're done with you. I didn't know we spent 5 years on this already. If they're not ready to go, move on. Kudos, Mayor.
Let me explain a little bit about SOLA. The Michigan City in 2018, the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission had a miraculous idea. And their idea was to create this SOLA concept. It started in 2018. I've got documentation here to prove it. It was a news release put out by them in 2018. And you know what the estimated cost of that project was in 2018 on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission?
$300 million.
The estimated cost was $150 million.
What's it now?
What's it now? 350.
Oh, I thought it was 600.
No, I believe it was
350.
350. What we do is we take individuals, we take a flim-flam man with an idea, and we invite him into Michigan City because he's got a way to build a better mousetrap.
Maybe we have a rubber tree plant people where they got high hopes.
The idea is
It's
when
good to have high hopes, but
yeah, but if you're in a position of economic development, don't you think that the individual that you would be talking to would have to be financially solvent? To buy a house, to buy a regular house on a street corner, you need the approval of the bank before you can make an attempt to buy the house. How is it that Michigan City Redevelopment Commission can take any Tom, Dick, and Harry and build them up to a certain extent, and then after 4 or 5 years they find out that they're not financially healthy enough to buy a box of toothpicks?
I have to, if you want to buy a house, right? If you want to buy a house, we got 5 minutes. If you want to buy a house, you go and you look at a house, and then you say, hey, I'd like to buy it, and you sign a contract. And you put money down in escrow. Earnest money. And you don't get that back. Michigan City should say, listen, SOLA, $100 million? I want $1 million in escrow. And if you don't do this, we keep your $1 million. And if you do this, we give your $1 million back. I guarantee you, before people like SOLA come in, they wouldn't sign that document. I got to write Michigan City a check for $1 million just in earnest money. And you will know right there, just like every real estate person knows, just like every seller knows, whether they're truly interested in buying. Just like the bank knows, if you put some money down, you're probably going to follow through because you don't want to lose $1,000 or $5,000. And if this is $100 million or $300 million, it should be $1 million in earnest money.
But this particular concept that is prevalent here in Michigan City has been in existence for going on 40, 45 years. Michigan City's again, a flim-flam man comes into town and sells the Redevelopment Commission on an idea about an island in the middle of Lake Michigan, just north of our border, the city will buy it, sight unseen. That concept has to change. And again, earnest money maybe is a
I think the mayor has kudos, and ex-mayor Sheila and the Redevelopment Commission. They stopped. They said, that's it. We're done. No more extensions.
Well,
now, if they're going to give $2 million to this other people down south of the theater, they should have said, I want $1 million up front. And if you can write me a check for $1 million and you get your stuff done, I'll give you that $1 million back.
And that begs the question: Did this individual?
I bet you they would have walked out the room and they would have said, "See you later."
This individual, does he have any skin in the game?
Nope. No, they got promises.
They got
papers.
promises. Again, that attitude, that concept has to change for the betterment of the community.
Well, you weed out the people that are just kicking tires, like when you go to buy a car. Are you really going to buy a car, or are you just out here kicking tires? If that person, again, if they're going to give them $2 million, I said, give me $1 million check in earnest money, and we will support your development 100%. If you can't give us $1 million, you can just go ahead to the next town.
For the last 3 years, over $44 million has been funneled through the Redevelopment Commission on title searches and so on, and a portion of that $44 million, other than going to the dual track, what results do we have in the city to show?
And kudos to Mayor Angie
Within the TIF district.
for saying that at the redevelopment, that we've expended years of money and resources for this, and you guys have not come up with the money.
Right. Maybe the
She's done real good.
entire redevelopment commission should resign.
I think that should be a very interesting question that the mayor, I'm sure, she's a good lady,
Well, anyway,
is probably asking.
We're getting down to 2 minutes. Don't forget the honor flights, ladies and gentlemen. This, of course, in 2026, there'll be numerous honor flights out of Walorski Foundation. As I said, I'm going to try to get these sign-up sheets, application sheets to veterans organizations as much as I can. Christmas, I believe next week we won't have a program,
No, Merry Christmas.
but maybe we'll have
Happy New Year. We won't have that either, right?
Yeah, we'll have the Myron Florin of Michigan City entertaining at Christmas time for next year. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and again, 2026 maybe will bring us a better and more highlighted events in the community. But when you're already behind the 8 ball, when you're already behind the 8 ball,
We have faith they can turn it around. Just like the Bears and the Cubs.
But it takes, with these 2,000 permits, that's a lot of work. Who's going to help? Well,
hire it. We'll hire it. We'll find it.
let's get it done. Let's get it done. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and see you in 2026. I want to welcome, again, there's a brain fart here. My closing statements. I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to approvers or criticism of this show is greatly appreciated. Please contact shows by co-producers Bob Pollock, who is on hiatus, Dave Bila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djbila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at emailagm@yahoo.com. Or you may direct your ideas for any future shows to our one and only staff writer, Sarah Bellum. The showing of our program will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m., Monday evening at 7 p.m., and also watch Navigate News and Views on Channel 99 on YouTube. Oh, by the way, my nephew, he had a song, one of his songs from his first album that he put out was played in Great Britain. I listened to it twice on the internet. Somebody in Great Britain picked up his music. And it mentioned Michigan City. So again, we're promoting Michigan City. He's promoting Michigan City. And he's on his way up. Thank everybody for watching. And make it a good day.